Imagine turning your blog into an experience people can't wait to join. By creating curated tours, you're not just sharing travel stories, you're inviting your audience to travel with you and earn revenue while doing it. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to plan tours, partner with tour operators, and bring your travel expertise to life as a profitable venture. Let's dive in and get started. Okay, so let's start talking about planning tours as a monetization strategy for your blog. Basically, how to partner with tour operators or organize your own tours. Okay, here's what we're going to cover. Introduction to tour planning as a monetization strategy, choosing the right tour model, benefits of partnering with tour operators, key steps to partnering, key steps to planning your own tour, and partnering with licensed tour operators, reputable tour companies for partnering, that's important, tour companies that work with travel bloggers, and marketing and promoting your tours, and then final steps to successful tour planning. Now, just so you know, I don't do tour planning as a part of the business. I wanted to do one with a tourism board, and but it's rather difficult. So what I wanted to do was to just have them. It's like if they're doing their fam trips and have them do the entire planning, and then I would offer that to my readers. They never really got around to it. The only thing they did was just giving me the company that they use, and then I would have to go do everything for myself. So I didn't bother going on with it. And currently, I am in talks with a tour company. I've used them before, actually did a fam trip with them. Really like the operation. And now I want to do a tour with them for my readers because there's an area of Europe that my readers really want to go, and this is actually the best company for it. So let's talk about tour planning overview. So designing tours allows you to offer hands-on experience that directly engage your audience. By curating unique trips, you become a part of their travel journey and earn revenue. I'm originally from Jamaica, and I really want to do a tour to Jamaica. But one, I need to find a tour company that will work that I can work with, or try to work with the tourism board to do it. And I have not a chance to do it all just yet. So why it works with travel bloggers? You already have an engaged audience who trust your travel expertise because you're in travel, right? So a tour really complements what you're doing. Creating tours provides a new layer of monetization and interaction with your followers. It absolutely does. I know a number of people who do tours, and so I have actually firsthand knowledge of how their tour is going and things like that. So types of tours. There are guided tours, which is where you organize fully guided experiences where you travel with your group. And these are actually pretty good, I think, for all my tours. The ones I was thinking I wanted to travel with the group because if people want to travel with you, you are the reason why they want to do the tour. So they want to experience some tours with you. And if it's a place that you're already familiar with, if you're going to start, that's what you should do because you want to have success at least on the first tour. So you get good testimonials, and we talk about that in a little bit. So you want to make sure it really works well. But self-guided itineraries offer custom itineraries to solo travelers or small groups based on your expertise. This I don't see too many people doing this form, but most people just either do the guided tours or the specialized tours, which focus on niche areas like photography, food, or adventure travel to attract a specific audience. Now, there are different ways to do these types of tours, and we're going to go into it. So there's do it yourself, right? Overview, where you plan, market, and execute the tour yourself. So this is where I was saying I wanted to go to do the tour with the tourism board, but they didn't want to partake in what I was doing, but they were going to help me somewhat. So I would have to do everything for myself. You get full creative control, the profit margins are higher, uh, and you get to tailor the itineraries, but you have to go select the partners, and you have to make sure that the partners are good, and make sure that and things like safety, you got to make sure that if you're going to an area where safety is a concern, that the partner is a reputable partner. There's high responsibility, of course, and there's liability. Now, let's talk about liability for a little bit. You need to ensure that you have liability insurance for your business. There's no if, ands, or but about that. There is one company here in the US, Beberk, it's a part of the Berkshire Hathaway umbrella of companies, and they do it's called EOE and E&E insurance. I'll put something on the screen with all the more information about that. But you need to make sure you have liability insurance because if somebody tries to sue you, they'll at least sue your company. And if somebody, gets injured on the tour or something, you'll be covered. You also need to make sure that people have travel insurance. If people don't have travel insurance, it's a no-no. You can't come on the tour unless you have travel insurance. There's really no ifs, ands, or but about this one. And this is something I think you should also do. The people I know that have tours, this is a requirement to be on those tours. And you cannot go if you don't have travel insurance. Travel insurance is not expensive, so it's something that you should actually do. Considerations when doing DIY require extensive planning, especially for international, because you have to get all the accommodations. You have to get all the transportation and all the local regulation. Sometimes what you can do is say, look, I'm not providing flights to where you need to go. I'll provide everything else except flights. And you specify exactly what you're going to provide and exactly what you're not going to provide because some people don't read and they will say, well, you said one thing is also good is to make sure you have some type of contract between you and it's like when you buy an airline ticket, you actually sign a contract. You don't think about it that way, but you do. When you check that box and you click buy, you are signing a contract with the airline. And there's a contract of carriage, which is things the airline will deliver to you. And if things happen, here's what happens. When you do your DIY tour, you should have something similar for your customers. So you can also work with licensed tour operators. This is probably the easiest way because you partner a licensed operator who handles logistics while you focus on marketing and guiding. My tour that I want to do for Europe, I'm going to work with, I want to work with, I'm going to work with, I'm thinking of working with a licensed tour operator because it's so much easier. They know the marketplace. They're going to actually come up with the itinerary, but it's based on kind of my input. I want to do these things. These are the people who want to do it. If they're seniors, remember that as seniors, and I'm getting there, you can't people don't do things as quickly. They need rest time. So you can't have all day tours. You need rest time in there. You need downtime. So maybe you have a half a day tour, and then the afternoon they can do whatever they want at their own pace. You really do have to think about that. Things like travel. If you have people who are traveling and they're arriving on the next day, they may need a half a day or a day or some time to get back into their own time zones or things like that. So do think about that. That's really important. It's when you do with a tour operators, it's reduced responsibility legally because they have a team. They've taken care of all this. So you don't have to worry about a lot of things and they have all the legal things ironed out and things like that. You do have a lower profit margin because you're paying the customer is paying you, you're paying the tour company, and then you're splitting in between you and the tour company. Make sure you have good profit margins on these tours. You are not in it to lose money. And also you want to make sure it's still competitive, but you need to make sure that you're not losing money in those. Otherwise, it makes no sense, right? Okay. The more benefits with tour operators, it reduces liability. Licensed operators carry the necessary insurance and permits reducing liability. Okay, I thought I was reading the same thing again. Um, Also, professional support. They provide local guides, handle logistics, and ensure compliance with regulations. So you just have to show up pretty much. There's a higher trust factor if you say, hey, this store is being done by this company. People already know that company, and so they will trust that company. And you have to make sure you use a reputable company. We're going to talk about that later. Also, in your role, you just market it is really all you do, and you manage operational details. Now, when you're working with a tour company, they're going to say something like, well, how many people are you going to have? And so you need to have something in there that says you have to have some type of guarantee for the number of people that you're going to have because they don't want to do it. They have a set amount of people that they normally do. So if they say, well, we're going to do this tour, if we don't have at least 10 people, it's not going to work. So you need to make sure you provide 10 people. Now, 10 people sounds like a small number, but sometimes it's really difficult to get 10 people on a tour. So make sure you understand your responsibilities as a middleman in the tour. And when you advertise it, you want to say, hey, if I don't get 10 people, we can't go. This way, you're not responsible to pay the tour operator if the tour doesn't go. Creative tip, consider negotiating for branding opportunities. So you may want to say, like, I want to do the Jamaican tour. So it'll be Current Caribbean Adventures or Current Jamaican Adventures or something like that. Or whatever your brand is, you want to put that in there. Uh, more key steps to planning your own tour. Yeah, that's the word tour up there. Uh, You want to research demand and audience interest. You don't want to have a tour if nobody wants to go. So what I did for the tour I'm thinking to Europe, I actually asked my readers, and the number one place that came up, I won't tell you, but there was a number one place that floated to the top. And so when I talked to the tour operator, I said, "Hey, this is the number one place they want to go to. Can we go there?" And the tour operator said, well, we don't usually do tours to one place, i.e., one city, but we do a tour that includes that city. So that's something that, and the other places are within the same region, so they'll get a similar experience in the other cities. Create tours that align with your blog's theme, whether it's adventure, luxury, culture, immersion, or wellness. Um, you don't want to do an adventure tour when your people just like to visit cities. You don't want to do something where I want to go mountain climbing when your folks like to go to the beach. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. So make sure the tour matches your needs. Do plan the itinerary include unique experience, local culture, and lesser known spots to differentiate your tour. Like if I was going to do a tour to Jamaica, there's a number of places that I know that tours normally don't go, and I would include that in my itinerary. Same thing with London. I want to do a tour of the London area, but everybody does Big Ben and everybody does, all the other big things. I want to go show people a different side of London that they wouldn't normally see. Of course, we'll have a day for the normal sightseeing stuff, right? But you want to say, okay, great. Today we're going to go to, uh, I don't know, trying to pick somewhere unique in London. Maybe today I want to go to Woolwich because Woolwich is so different. Or we want to go see the Thames Embankment because that's something that people normally don't see when they go to London. Set your price. This is normally a really difficult thing for people, is how much it's going to cost. But make sure that everybody gets paid on your tour, right? Make sure you pick the right accommodation. And for the love of travel, pick somewhere nice for people to sleep. Pick somewhere safe for people to sleep. You don't want people to worry. Make sure you get proper transportation. Talk to the tour people on the other end. This is why it's really good to get uh to use established tour companies because they know the people. And this is why I like it when I wanted to do one in Jamaica, I wanted to use the tourism board to help because they know the people. They have reputable people that they use. I don't. And so if they recommend a tour company that will do the driving, I will happily use that because they know those people. There's a lot of little fees. You need to research. One, can you actually take a group? Because some places you cannot take a group unless you have a permit. So when you get there, you got to get a permit for your group. You have to make sure that your group, when you get there, if your group has to be there between 10 and 11, 10:30 won't cut it because you need an hour. If you want to go see the Sistine Chapel and you do a group and you want to go to, say, somewhere like Walks, which is a tour company that works in Italy, then you want to get with them ahead of time and let them know I have 10 people. And some of these tours, you have to be there at 5 a.m. So you have to make sure that people know that they have to be there at 5 a.m. So they have to get up at like 4, 4:30, make sure transportation. So you have to put like some kind of logistic sheet together to make sure everything works. You also got to put something in if something doesn't work. So let's say for whatever reason you can't get into the Sistine Chapel at the time you're supposed to go, then that's a difficult one, right? But you probably need to figure out, okay, so what else can I do if this doesn't work? Or people are going to be really disappointed. So can I schedule another time? That's a really difficult one, but some things are like that, right? Um, so you have to think ahead of and think if things don't work, what are you going to do? And make sure you make a profit. That's the key. When you're marketing the tour, use your blog, your email list, and we talked about email lists extensively. Like almost everything I spoke about talks about email lists in here. So you want to make sure you use your blog, your email list, and social media to promote the tour. Promoting is key because you want to make sure you get enough people. You also want to give enough time for people to sign up for the tour. And do a sense of urgency because people like to wait for the last minute. And go back to pricing, you need to kind of figure out how are people going to pay in the different dimensions, but we're going to talk about payments in a little bit. Handle bookings and payments. You need to be able to set up a booking platform. So there are a few companies out there that already have booking platforms. There's something called Fair Harbor, Peak Pro. You can also set up your own shopping cart to do it. There's like Thrive Cart or Sam's Cart to do the actual you basically, it's like you're selling something, and the thing you're selling is a tour. You put all the information in, and at the bottom, this has a lot of flexibility because you can put the pricing, you can put the taxes if you have to do taxes on it. You can put everything in there, and then you collect the money um, from the user from right there. And those systems have built-in credit card authorization systems, so you don't have to worry about that. Only thing you have to do is sign up for something like PayPal or Stripe. So when they collect the money from the customer, um, you will get the money. You also have to think about refunds. How are you going to handle refund? What is your refund policy? Do you say if you cancel 10 days before, you get 50%, or there's no refunds or whatever the refund policy is, you do have to make sure that that is clearly stated. One of the key reasons for this is companies like Stripe and PayPal, if the customer decides, well, I want a refund, and you say, I'm not giving you a refund because I told you you can't get a refund within X number of time, but a customer wants a refund. What they're going to do, they're going to go to what they may do is they may go to their credit card company and say, I am disputing a claim. What the credit card company does is they send you an email. And the email says, and I get these all the time, and the email says, this customer is disputing this charge. What say you? So now the key thing that will get you out of all this mess is if you have the refund policy, and the refund policy is clearly displayed to the customer when they sign up for your services. This is key. If you do not have that, you're going to lose. 9 times out of 10, whenever somebody disputes anything with a credit card company, you lose. But when saying that, I got a notice today that said I won because someone had disputed, and I showed them all the information. I said, I'm just going to give them a refund anyway. And then they came back and they said, and it was already closed. And they sent back, and I guess because the customer said they're not disputing it. One of the things you can do is they will tell you the first thing is to try to work with the customer. I'm spending time on this because these trips are going to cost a lot of money, right? It's maybe $3,000, $4,000, depending on the trips that they are. So you want to make sure that when somebody disputes, you have your bases covered. So, and refunds is the biggest thing. And if you have the refund clearly stated, you have all the communication you've done with the customer, all the promotions that you've done around it, and then your chances of winning the dispute whenever somebody disputes is very, very important. You also have to think about, am I going to allow deposits? Or allow people to pay in installments. It just depends on what your clientele is and what happens if they pay two installments and they don't pay the third installment. So you need to think about all that. Customer support. Um, some people can be really annoying. There's no easy way to say this, right? So you need to make sure that you take care of your customers. If they ask you 10,000 questions, although it's annoying, you need to answer the 10,000 questions because you don't want them to have any reason to say that you didn't something or you should have done something and you didn't. People will complain, especially when they're spending a lot of money and they're just nervous. And if they're nervous, it's your job to take care of them, as annoying as it may be. You really just have to do it because one, you want them to have a good time. Two, you want to get a really good testimonial. And three, you want them to go on your next trip, right? Okay. Partner with licensed tour operators. You have to find a partner that aligns with your brand. You want to choose a tour operator that fits your niche and values. Example, sustainability and luxury. Like if you're doing something with luxury, you want to make sure you get like, you want people to get picked up in a really nice vehicle. Needs to be clean. You want to pick a nice hotel. You want to pick things that fits your brand. So if you sign up with a tour operator that's like mid-tier and it's luxury, it's not going to work. People are going to complain and they're going to complain immediately and they're going to complain on the tour and if it's just not going to go well. You want to establish your clear terms with the operator. Where can I put my brand on whatever you're using to promote the trip? Because they're going to promote it too, right? What is it? How are we going to negotiate the split? You need to do this upfront. There is no we're doing this after. You do this upfront, sign a contract, and make sure everything is on the up and up. And also, what role are you gonna play? Am I just gonna sit back in the van and just hang out? Or am I gonna, can I say things when I'm on the tour? Things like that. You want to collaborate on the itinerary design. This is very important because you understand your customers a little more than they do, but they also know what works and what doesn't work. So if they tell you, well, we need to go to dinner at 6, and you're like, well, these people eat late, so let's go at 8. That may not work because you might be in a place where you can't get seating at 8. So maybe that's why they're doing seating at 6. So you do have to think about that. Leverage your resource and marketing. Some of these operators will help you to promote the trip because they don't want to lose and you don't want to lose and they don't want you to lose because when you lose, they lose. So they definitely don't want to do that. So you need to use their resources if they'll allow it. And this is something that you have to work out beforehand. You want to manage a customer expectation. Make sure the client knows what's going on. You wanna you wanna set um, realistic responsibilities for the customers. And again, if they have questions, answer them. All right, so here's some partners that are pretty good in the tour space. There is Intrepid Travel, and they're known for sustainable small group tours worldwide, and they offer tailored trips with a strong focus on responsible tourism. And it's best for bloggers with an eco-conscious or adventure travel audience. G Adventures are Canadian-based, and they're actually a pretty good company. Focus on immersive small group tours with a commitment to sustainable travel. They offer custom tour options, and bloggers interested in sustainable, cultural, and local experience are who's best for this one. Tour Radar is another company that has a marketplace that connects travelers with various operators, allowing bloggers to select tours that align with their audience. Travel Local is another company specializing in custom, locally guided tours. Now, these are only a few, right? There are many more, but these are like the top ones that are out there. Bloggers focus on community engagement and culturally immersive travel. There's also Trover Trip, and this is so I'm going over into companies that will allow you to work that specifically work with travel bloggers. So this is where they set things up, and then you can pick stuff. It's actually quite good. Some of these companies. So Trover Trip is one of them. They partner directly with creators to design and market small group trips or provide a platform where influencers can set their own schedules and destination. And these are bloggers who want to design unique small group trips with minimal operational insight. We Travel, that's another one that does tour bookings, platform that helps creators and travel bloggers manage bookings, payments, and logistics, and allows you to create custom experience or book existing tours. Best of bloggers looking to streamline booking and management for custom. Okay, marketing and promoting your tours. You want to use social proof. This is why you want to be nice to everyone. And you want to make, even if they're nasty, you want to be nice to them because you don't want them to go out there and give you bad feedback because people give you bad feedback even when it's their fault. You want to share past tour photos, testimonials, or feedback to build credibility. Obviously, if this is your first tour, you don't have any of this. So all you're going on the first time is your reputation and the reputation of the company that you're choosing to do it. So and also I know some people who've done like they started with doing like small tours in a van, and then they started doing big tours where you have to fly somewhere. So that was really good. There's also people who've done tours on they've even rented an entire yacht for their tour. And so you can do, but that one, I mean, it takes a lot of logistics to do that one. Create a dedicated tour page, include detailed instruction, itineraries, and pricing and booking information on your blog. Um, you want to make sure the customer knows exactly what they're getting. So here's what you're getting. You don't have to um, price everything, itemize everything. You can just give them one price, but they need to know what they're getting. They need to know what the itinerary is. A lot of people want to know, I get up at 5. Okay, we meet at 6. Breakfast is at 6:30. We depart at 7. You need to make sure you have that information for people who need it. Use email marketing and social media to promote your tours. You can do it on Instagram because you can have a link in there. You can do the videos. If you've already gone to the destination before, you can show previous tours using social media. You can have another influencer work with you, and then you figure out how you're going to pay that influencer because you maybe want to get their audience. You can offer early bird discounts or bonuses, incentivize early bookings with limited time offers, or have exclusive add-ons for the first few signups. Make sure that when you do this, though, you don't cut into your profits. You do not want to cut into your profits. Final tips of success, clearly communicate what's included and excluded in the tour, the level of physical activity required, and the types of accommodation. Remember your audience. The types of accommodation is really important. You do not want people to stay in a place that's really awful. If you can, you should probably try to visit the places, or if this is your first time, you really want to make sure, or you choose brands where you know it's reputable. So if you go into a city and you don't know anything about the city, then choose a Hilton or a Marriott or a Radisson or a Holiday Inn or a IHG Intercontinental, whatever your type of trip is. But pick a company that you know is reputable. So when you go there, you're not going to have any issues. Or if you have any issues, you know that they'll fix it. Focus on the client experience. This is so important. From the time the customer signs up to the time they come back home, you want to make sure they have a really, really good time. And the only way to do this is if you make sure that the welcome package works, add some personal touch in there, make sure you communicate with them all the time. What some people do, they give them a little bag with goodies in there. And so, it's marketing, right? You're marketing your service and you're marketing your company. So stuff like that is really good to have. Legal insurance, ensure you have the necessary permits, license, and liability insurance. I talked about that a little bit too. Most tour operators will do this for you, but you want to just check to make sure everything is in place. Like you don't want to go to a museum and you don't have the right permit to get into the museum. Because like I said, if you're doing a tour over a certain number, you need to get a permit because you have a special group entrance. Usually, if you're over a certain amount, some things might be weight restricted. And so you can only take X number of people at a certain amount of time. So if you have a party of 10 and you can do 5 at a time, you need to figure out what's the other 5 people going to do while they wait for the 5 people to come back. So you really have to think about the logistic. Make sure you have proper insurance, make sure all your people have proper insurance, and make sure the companies that you use or are going to use locally are licensed. Make them send you proof of what they're supposed to have in those countries. Because people will tell you one thing, and then you get there, they don't have it, and you get stopped on the street, and you're in trouble. Gather feedback all the time after each tour because you want to make sure the next tour solves whatever problems the tour before had. And so if somebody got upset about something, you really want to talk to them and say, okay, tell me how I can make it better. That's really what you want to do. Okay, so that's it for tours. So I hope I was able to kind of enlighten you on trying to do tours. There are a number of bloggers who do tours, and they do them really successfully. And so it's not outside of your reach to do tours. You just have to make sure that you plan them properly. You work with the tour operators. If you're going to do it yourself, I propose that if you're going to do your first tour, maybe work with a tour operator rather than trying to do the first one yourself. Um, and think about how many people you're going to take on the tour, etc. So subscribe to the channel. This is just another way, monetization. Tell your friends, leave comments or questions, and let me know if you've done a tour, or I'm pretty sure I have not covered everything in doing tours, but let me know if you have done something different, and just leave a comment and let me know. Thanks for your time. Make sure you follow me for more insights, subscribe, like, and set notification because that's important. So whenever I send more videos, you know that there's a new video in the hopper. And that's all I got. So thank you for coming along. I appreciate it. And we'll talk soon.